Hello there, and thanks for joining me. I'm digital artist Aaron Rutten, and in this video I want to talk about being healthy as a digital artist or a creative person like myself who sits in a chair all day in front of a computer and doesn't move around much. When I was younger, in my teens and my 20s, I got plenty of exercise just by going out and doing stuff, and I had a job where it was usually something physical, or I was standing all day, or, I was actually moving around a lot. I wasn't just sitting in a chair doing absolutely nothing. But in my 30s, I'm starting to notice that it's having a negative effect on my health, and so I'm gaining more weight than I should. I don't have as much energy. My back starts to hurt, and that's just only going to get worse with age. When I'm 40 or 50 or 60, or, if I end up being a cyborg or whatever and I'm 200, I want to be in decent shape. I don't want to just start falling apart in my 30s and 40s. And that's kind of the trend that's happening now that I'm basically making all of my money as a full-time artist or a digital artist. I'm at the computer constantly all day, and there's nothing in my job, unless I have to go out to a meeting or something with somebody that encourages me to go out and actually do something physical. So I need to do something. I've been trying for a while. You may have noticed if you've been watching my videos for a long time that my weight's fluctuated a bit. I started to gain a lot of weight a few years ago, and then I lost some last year, and then I'm gaining it back. And this really is not a superficial issue about how I look. It's an issue of, how do I feel? And what is this going to do to me later in life if I don't kind of start to reel it in? So I need to try to balance this with what's reasonable to me, because I know I'll start things and then I'll give up. And, art's not one of those things. I've never given up on art entirely. I've always done art, and that's easy for me. But exercise and watching what I eat, that's something that I just don't have a whole lot of interest in. I'd like to be in shape, but I don't want to have to count calories, and I don't have to track how much water I drink and how much I exercise and all that stuff. So I'm trying to make that work. But I want to talk about it in the context of how am I going to make it happen and fit it into my art schedule? Because art's the most important thing to me, and my health should be more important than art, but it just isn't. You probably feel that way too. So I feel like I have not even enough time to make art. I could use a lot more hours to make art and sleep a lot less, and that would be great. Unfortunately, I can't do that. So how, if I feel like I have no free time, am I going to find time to exercise and do all these things and just devote all this mental energy into keeping track of all that stuff on top of what I'm working on creatively? I have kind of a plan in mind, and I'm going to share that with you. Hopefully this information will be inspirational to you. It'll motivate you. It'll give you some ideas for how to manage your health and your art career at the same time. So I'm going to go through my whole plan here. This will be kind of the introduction video, and then I'll make a few more occasional videos showing my progress. And hopefully by the end of it, I will have lost some weight and I'll be feeling a lot better, and I'll have a nice routine fit in with my art schedule, and everything will work fine and it'll all be good. So let's talk about my plan of action. I know that I need to eat better. I need to stay hydrated. I need to cut out stuff like vitamin waters and junk food. I'm sure if you've watched my live streams, I'm always drinking a vitamin water, do I need to have one of those every day? Probably not. I need to exercise more, or at all. And I need to be more active throughout the day. So those are kind of my 5 major goals. All of that is for the ultimate goal of losing weight and just being in better shape, and being just a better, healthy human being in general. The challenges are going to be sticking to it, obviously. That's hard for me to do. I start and stop things all the time, and I can be very inconsistent. The second challenge is going to be finding the time to exercise. Like I said, I don't feel like I have free time, so that's a hard thing for me to give up a half hour out of my day. Tracking all of the data, like calories and how many minutes you exercise and all that stuff, it takes up space in your head. And honestly, I got so much going on in my head, thinking about all the YouTube videos I make and the courses I make and just everything. It's just my head is pretty full, and I just don't have room for stuff like that. So how am I going to keep track of that when my mind is already full of art stuff? And, especially keeping track of what I'm eating. looking on the back of the package and stuff like that, or trying to figure out how many calories are in a meal, and not overeating, and especially not eating junk food, because, if I go on these binges now and then where I'll eat a bunch of chips and stuff when I don't really need to eat that kind of stuff. So those are my challenges. My solution, and you're probably going to laugh at me for this because this is what a lot of people are doing, is I got a Fitbit. So a Fitbit is basically a computer that you wear on your wrist that can monitor your heart rate, and it can count your steps, and it can keep track of a lot of different things relating to your health and the progression through exercise and all of these things. And then it syncs up to an app that tracks a lot of stuff. And I got this thing yesterday, and I used it for about half a day just to get an idea for how it works. And I'm pretty optimistic about how it's working. It seems like it works really well. It's going to solve a lot of the problems. It's going to encourage me to stick to it, because it's like, I'm on parole or something here. Like, I've got this wristband that, is going to keep track of my every move. So hopefully that'll help me stick to it. The app is really nice and really friendly, and it encourages you to use it, and it gives you reminders and things like that. In fact, a reminder just went off while I was recording this video that I need to get up and move a little bit. So I think that's good, because that encourages me not to sit in my chair for so long. Finding time to exercise, it encourages you to exercise. It can, I can get on my bike and go ride around the neighborhood, and it'll track, where I've been on my bike. You can go on a jog, and it'll track it, and it'll show you how many miles and how many minutes and what your heart rate was and all that stuff. So it's going to keep all that stuff. I don't have to keep all that stuff in my brain. It can all be on my phone and in my Fitbit, and I can just focus on looking at the data later and figuring out what to do. What's going to be my plan of action? What progress have I made? A good analogy to that is if you have a YouTube channel, you have your analytics that you can go and look at, but you didn't have to go and actually look at each video and count how many views it got and tally each day the positive or negative views and subscribers and all that stuff. You didn't have to do that. Analytics did that for you, and that's kind of what this is. I don't have to worry about micromanaging all of this stuff. It's all being done for me, and I can just focus on my goals. So I'm excited about that. This is my second 16-ounce glass of water for the day. I can go into my app here, and I can click on water, and I can say I'm going to add a 16-ounce bottle of water. So yesterday I met my goal, and it's basically just encouraging me to drink water. Now, that's awesome. Do I really need this thing on my phone to make me drink water? Yes. Sadly, yes. That's what it's going to take. Usually pretty skeptical about trends, but you know what? I'm gonna give this one a chance, because I kind of like it. I'm kind of a tech person, and I think it makes it interesting. It does kind of make you feel like a cyborg, or you're being tracked by the government. Just to kind of show you, it is a little big, so you definitely notice it. Heart rate, watch, and calendar, and then it shows you how many steps you've taken throughout the day. And all of that just syncs through Bluetooth to your phone. Now, this sounds like a commercial for Fitbit. It's really not. I'm actually genuinely excited about this. I bought this with my own money, not sponsored by Fitbit, although if they want to send me $1 million, that's totally cool. This is just something where I've been thinking about this for a long time, and I know that a lot of you out there who watch my videos share common problems with me, and this is probably a very common problem among artists, finding time to take care of yourself in addition to making your art, which is what you really want to do. So hopefully I can do this. I'm gonna, like I said, make occasional videos showing my progress. Hopefully I'll slim out a bit and I'll be feeling more motivated, because as of late I have lots of ideas for videos, but it's just been really hard for me to actually want to make them. And that's an overall motivation and energy thing, I think. I shouldn't feel like I have no energy if I'm not really doing anything. It's not like I'm out chopping logs all day and stuff. I'm just sitting in a chair, so I should have plenty of energy, and I shouldn't need sugar and caffeine and all that stuff to do that. I know from experience, getting exercise and eating better and being in better shape actually does make me feel a lot better. It's just, you get sucked into that trend of, self-destruction sometimes, and you got to eat a whole bag of chips. If you enjoyed this video and you want to send me a little encouragement, click that like button. And if you're new to my channel, I'd love to have you subscribe. I have a lot of digital art tutorials and videos like this. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next part of this series.